Do you use any indexing tool to index pages on your new sites, or just submit the sitemap in GSC and wait for indexing? I do both. All I do is I submit the sitemap in Google Search Console. My sites are all simple though, guys. I don't have redundant pages. I don't have duplication. I don't have tags. I don't have categories. I'm not submitting sitemaps like, God, I do some audits and you go look at the sitemap index and there's 15 fucking sitemaps for Elementor elements and images and author sitemaps and post tag sitemaps, category sitemaps, and what the hell are you asking Google to crawl all that stuff for, right? And it's just absolutely unnecessary. It creates crawl resistance. Thank you, Cecilia. She's the one that coined that term. I love it. Well, at least that's who I heard it from first. But like, it just amazes me to see what people are telling Google to crawl, and then they wonder why their sites aren't performing well. Like all this stuff that is absolutely not necessary and is causing crawl resistance, which causes Google to use more resources, which precise, is one of the things that I feel. I don't have any evidence of this other than experiencing through my own testing, but I feel like Google is rewarding sites that are efficient, that it can process to understand very quickly and efficiently. Whatever uses less processing power seems to be rewarded right now. Again, I don't have any scientific evidence to prove that other than just my own experience recently. So when I submit my LLG sites, local lead generation sites, they're very simple sites with like 11 page, 12 pages homepage. In the tree service industry, I have homepage, 4 service pages, and 5 location pages. And then there's a contact page and a privacy page. That's it. So there's 12 pages. And that's it. That's all there is on my sites. It's because of, and I just, if I want to target another area, I just build another site. Does that make sense? So I submit these sitemap, and it's a high level site. So it's a simple sitemap. This is an example, right? Albemarle, let's see, right here. An example of a sitemap. You'll see it right here. Is this. It's 12 pages. Oh, and there's a thank you page too. So 13 pages. Okay. That's it. I submit that sitemap just like that. I do submit via URL prefix, and then I submit the sitemap.xml. Then I also take the home page, and then I will usually take one service page and one location page, and then submit inspect URL in GSE, then test URL, then request indexing. So I do that for 3 URLs: the homepage URL, one service page URL, and one location page URL. Because of the way that I do my internal linking, if I submit a service page for request indexing, so inspect URL, test URL, and request indexing, it's a 3-step process, then Google's going to crawl this page, and I already have the other service pages listed and all locations listed. Then I take one of the location pages, do the same thing. All service pages will be crawled from that, and all the other location pages will be crawled from that. And so I just do it for the home page, one service page, one location page, and then I go extract using link gopher right here, extract all links. Then I copy these to, Zoom is kind of in the way. So let me try that one more time. I've got the outline of the Zoom screen share window that's kind of blocking my ability to copy these. But what I would do is this right here. Copy it like that. In 1 second while I pause my screen to open up a notepad file, because I don't know what's going to show up. Okay, here we go. Paste this into a notepad file. I get rid of like the sitemap URL. And then I'll just usually just take the rest of that, even the privacy policy, because it's only a few pages, and I'll submit that to an indexer. I use several indexers. I only submit these to one though, because it's not necessary. But I use either Speedlinks or Omega Indexer most of the time for these, where I'll just go paste these URLs right here into the indexing service. And I just do one day, no dripping, none of that. Just crawl them all right now. That's it. And then within days, not even days, usually within 24 hours, all pages are indexed. Quick example of that would be this. I'll say an example of a site. And you can see when it indexed, like this one right here, the one we're just looking at. Look at this. You can see when I added it to Search Console and submitted it for indexing, it was the same day I added it to Zootrix. And then boom, the next day, everything indexed, and look, it's just climbing up. This is what happens with these sites. When you get the structure proper, you deploy the site, you identify the areas, deploy the site, and then just let it sit, let it season or mature a bit on its own. And that's where I found it will start to produce, like, again, if you do your competition research proper, so that you're targeting only locations that you found that are less competition, then a lot of times you just leave these sites alone. And with high level sites, it takes about 4 to 8 weeks for them to stabilize. It's actually better now than it was even 6 months ago. Like they stabilize quicker. Initially, like even 6 or 8 months ago, a high level site when deployed, when submitting it for index, you'd see it would pages would index and then they'd fall out and then they'd come back and they'd fall out. You would see that the very volatile swings in like an organic rank chart. These are organic only assets, guys. Most of them anyways. And so you would see that in the rank reports, they would drop in and out of the index. It'd be very volatile swings for about anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. And then it would stabilize. And then it would look more normal like this. Recently, though, these sites are indexing better and stabilizing a lot faster. And so what I found is if you just leave them alone for anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks, you will typically find you will be able to identify the winning performers, the ones that are performing well with no additional SEO work needed. And then the ones that, and by the way, there's going to be sections or locations that are being targeted that are going to need an additional push. But that doesn't mean you can't monetize these sites. I don't have to rank all these keywords to be able to use this as a sales tool, guys. Do you understand that? Like it doesn't have to, all the pages don't have to be ranked for ranking. And it's not a lot of pages. It's just, by the way, it's one location page that ranks for all the search queries plus location. Do you understand? It's not, that's why there aren't 300 pages on this site. Or if there was 4 services and 5 locations under traditional SEO, there'd be 20 pages, right? Think about it, 20 of these pages plus the other standard pages, home, contact, privacy, about, all that shit. But that's not necessary. That's causing problems now, guys. And local, it causes problems now. I can't stress that enough. And yet, it doesn't matter how many times I say it or how long I've said it. I see it all the time. And it's just ridiculous. Don't need to do that. If you do this properly, you have less pages, and one page will rank for all the search queries, depending on the industry. And you might need more than one page plus location. But for most of the industries of service area businesses, especially that I consult on, we can accomplish it with one location page. And then, so one location page will rank for all the services. Does that make sense? Some cases you might need additional location pages, but it's kind of rare. And so the point is I then go index these sites, right? And then leave them alone. And once I start having some, I mean, look how many keywords, guys. I've got 10 keywords in the top 3 position, 19 in the top 5. No links have been built to this, although I did have a previous site that I did redirect to this. So there was a little bit of link equity from the redirect that's coming through, which might be part of the reason why this one has jumped so much. But you'll see all these green arrows. This is a lot of green arrows, a lot of movement for a brand new site. And so there's enough here that I can use this now as a sales tool, right? I can go market to tree contractors in the Charlottesville, Virginia area and point to, you know, the adjacent areas, the suburbs around Charlottesville, say, look, I've already got assets that are ranking in the service area that you claim you want jobs from. It's not ranking in Charlottesville yet, but it can be, right? It can be. Build some links to it, do some additional supporting assets, etc. I can get the Charlottesville keywords to rank too. But here's a starting point. That's all that's needed, guys, is to be able to demonstrate to the potential client that you know how to get results in their own area for their own products and services where you're outperforming their own website. That makes sense. And then you can use that as a sales tool. You can either monetize it by renting it out, selling them leads, or just using it as a sales tool, like an incentive, right? Like, hey, look, if you hire me to do SEO or lead generation, whatever, marketing services for your business, I will assign this site or any of the leads that come from this site to you at no additional cost. You still own a site. By the way, once they're a client, you take some of their budget to build links to your site because it's on their behalf. It's going to benefit them. There's nothing ethically wrong with doing that. And now you are benefiting because you own and control this asset, and you're using their budget to build links to make sure that the other pages that aren't performing well yet do. And then if they decide to leave, so be it. Didn't you accomplish what you set out to do with their money? Yeah, you sure as hell did. And you retain this benefit. While all other SEOs, when they lose the client, they're left with nothing. You're left with assets that you used part of their budget to build up your assets, your presence, etc. Directory hybrid agency, guys. That's precisely why I started developing it, to mitigate the churn that I had in my own agency. This is not theory. This is real world stuff based on my own agency because I'm in a seasonal business or seasonal industry. And And there's nothing wrong with being in a seasonal industry if you know how to mitigate it. And I had to develop a way to do that. And that's precisely what this is for. Okay. Great question. I got to move on. Next one. Indexing is very easy with those kind of sites, guys, because it's not very many pages. They're very succinct. It's efficient for Google to crawl. So we can index these within 24 hours, all pages on the site within 24 hours. And I don't even know that I need to submit them to indexers. I just do it because it's habit. Old habits die hard.